Alright, I've had some requests for some more t-shirt cutting videos. So today I'm going to take my new CG Hustle Happy t-shirt and do some fun stuff with it. If you want to know how to get one, talk to a CG trainer. So I feel like this one's asking to have the neck cut out of it, so I'm going to start there. Key things when you're cutting a t-shirt: make sure you have really sharp scissors, and the setup is important. So make sure that everything is smooth before you cut. So I've made sure like the top hems of the t-shirt here are even, they're smooth, they're flat. I'm going to make sure that the fabric itself is flat where I'm going to cut. So because every time there's a wrinkle that you cut across, you're going to get a jagged line. So once the fabric is nice and smooth, slide it back a little bit, I'm going to start nice and slow. I like to cut towards the edge of the scissors here. That gets the best cut, and make sure you line it up. Each time you go to cut again, make sure you line up with where you cut before. That's also going to help you get a nice smooth line. I'm going to start out nice and close to the neckline, and then I can always spread it out a little bit as I go. And again, I'm taking my time, making sure I line up the edge of the cut with the scissors before I cut again, so that I get that nice smooth cut. And then making sure that fabric doesn't bunch as I go. And I'm following, trying to stay about the same amount distant from the edge of the neck as I go. And I can see I'm already getting a couple jagged edges on the back. That's okay, I can go back and smooth that out some after I'm done. Taking my time, going to the edge of the cut with the scissors each time. I'm going to move the shirt so that I can keep getting a good angle on my cuts. Again, making sure the front and the back are nice and flat before I cut more. And then I want to make sure that it's about the same distance from the edge of the neckline on both sides, so that the opening will be. So now I've got the neck cut out. I'm going to go back and get some of these little edges that are sticking out and just kind of smooth those out a little bit before I move on. There's not a whole lot, just because I took my time. But the smoother it is to begin with, the easier it is going to be for it to kind of roll up once I've stretched out the edges and washed it. Okay, so now I feel like my edges are pretty smooth. The next thing I'm going to do is just kind of stretch out along where I cut, and that's going to help the fabric roll over on its own. And then once I've washed and dried it, it'll do that a little bit more. It's the best with slightly stretchy, soft fabrics. So a t-shirt that's that really like cheap t-shirt material isn't probably going to respond the same way as one that's a little bit softer. All right, so here's my shirt so far. I can always cut wider later if I'd like to for the neckline, but I think I'm happy with that. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to cut out some diamonds from the back. So I'm going to fold the t-shirt differently now. I'm going to take it and fold it in half the opposite direction so that the shoulder seams match up. And I'm going to work really hard on getting it nice and flat so I get right in the middle of the back. So the other thing I want to make sure and match up is the side seams right here. I want them together so that when I go for the middle of the back, I actually hit the middle of the back and not off-centered. And again, you want to set it up so that it is nice and smooth along where you're going to cut, so that you reduce the amount of jagged edges you create. Okay, so now you can see I've smoothed the t-shirt out. This is the back. I've got those seams, the side seams lined up here. This is nice and flat and smooth. From here, I'm gonna make some diamonds, and I want the diamonds in the middle to be a little bit bigger than the ones at the top and the bottom. So this is my top, here's my bottom. So I'm gonna start out not at the very top. I'm gonna go a few inches down with a small diamond to begin with. Again, use the sharpest part of your scissors, especially if they're not super sharp. I'm gonna cut at an angle through that fold. Again, making sure that my fabric doesn't bunch up, so I'm taking my time. And then I'm gonna cut the opposite direction until I've cut this piece of fabric out completely. So there's my first one. And I'm just gonna make them a couple inches apart. I'm not gonna go super big with this one. I want it to be kind of understated. I'm gonna try to cut about the same angle each time. This one's gonna be a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna cut a little further in. This is a new style for me, so we'll see how it goes. And I can always adjust a little bit. Like, I don't like how this kind of ended up curved, so I'm gonna come back and adjust that a little bit. Okay, so here's how it looks with all of the pieces cut out. I went ahead and put some smaller ones at the top. I still don't really like the edge of this one. I'm going to make it a little bit straighter. These scissors are a little bit too dull at this point. So the sharpness of your scissors makes a huge difference in how precise you can be with your cuts. All right, that's better. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up and see how it looks. All right, so let's see. All right, and that's how the back is going to look. I'll post a picture of what it looks like on. Here's the front with the neckline. I'll definitely be posting more videos. I've also had some people request that I just cut shirts for them. So let me know if you're interested in that, and I can definitely do that as well.